Alright guys, so in this video we're going to talk about input and output tables. Input and output tables should not be new to you. This is something that you should have for sure gotten in 4th grade, maybe even saw a little bit in 3rd grade, but probably more in 4th grade than anything. And what you're looking for here is you're looking for basically a relationship between one side of the table and then the other. So in other words, it's input on one side, it's output on the other. So this particular table is labeled XY, but really if I wanted to, I could call this the input. So I'm going to write in above it and then output on the other side, which I'm just going to label with the word out. So if something's going in, something's coming out, and you're looking for what's happening mathematically. So this one here is pretty easy. Most kids, what they'll do is they'll look for patterns, which is a good thing. And so on this one, you can see a lot of different patterns. I might have a kid say, well, I see the X value going up by 1. I see the Y value going up by 1 as it's going down, and which is true, it is. The one thing that I would want my students to always look for is, again, thinking about it from input to output. So how is it, what's changing from input to output? So I'm going to kind of think about it like this with an arrow. How is it going from input to output? So in this case, if you look here, it's going from 3 to 6, 4 to 7, 5 to 8, and 6 to 9. So there is something that's known as a rule, and your rule is consistent throughout the table. In other words, it doesn't change. So your rule here looks like a rule of +3. Or in this case, they are taking the X value and then they are adding 3 to get the Y. So in 5th grade, this might be the change from 4th to 5th. We start seeing it in an equation. So we talked about equations several weeks back, and when we talked about equations, I know we did it in my class, we talked about variables and how they could use letters out of the alphabet. Well, now they're going to take some of these input-output tables and they're going to make it into an XY equation where they're saying, okay, in order to get Y, we're going to take the X value and then we're going to add 3 to it. And that's pretty easy if you take something from the table, like I'm going to circle this. Let's take that from the table and plug it into our equation and see if it makes sense. So I'm going to take the X value of 4, so I'm going to write it underneath, and I'm going to say, okay, if I take that and I add 3, because remember our rule is consistent, it's not going to change, that means that should give me the Y. And in this case, it does. This matches. It matches what's going on over in my input-output table. My equation here makes sense. So that's probably going to be the biggest thing from 4th to 5th grade is when you look at your equations, they have to match your table, or your table has to match your equation. And so in this one here, pretty simple because we're just adding 3 every time. All right, so the next one here, same thing. The only difference is this is now a different table because now it's not going up and down, it's going left to right. So this is what would be known as a horizontal table, not a vertical table. Again, don't let that throw you off. X is always going to come first, so here's my input, here's my output. This time I'm thinking more kind of going down. How is it going from input to output? So this one changes a little bit. I see some patterns developing, but if I only think input to output here, there's something consistently happening. What I see here, and if you know your facts, your multiplication facts, you probably already see it, and that is it's just timesing by 4. You're taking 4 and timesing it by 4 to get 16, or 5 times 4 gives you 20. So your rule here is going to be you're going to times it by 4, basically. You're taking your input, which in this case could be anything from 4, 5, 6, or 7. You're timesing it by 4 to get your output. So as far as a equation for this one, or an equation for this one, this is going to look a little bit different This one's going to look something kind of like this. We're going to say y is equal to 4x. And that's because right here, in between that 4 and that x value, there's no symbol there. And so a no symbol is going to equate to a multiplication problem, or we're going to times it. So we're going to take whatever the x might be, and we're going to times it by 8. And we can test that to see if that makes sense. So I can pull out this right here, the 6 and the 24, and I can say, okay, well, 4, and if it's usually a no symbol like that, they might put it in parentheses, and they might say, okay, the 6 could be here, and that's just multiplying 6 times 4, so it's going to give me 24, and that matches what's going on up here in my table. So just kind of think about that. And again, we saw addition earlier, and then now we're seeing multiplication. Probably just going to be that in 5th grade. We're going to call those two things something later in the week, but for right now, just kind of getting used to some input-output tables and some practice. We'll leave it at that. Okay, here's a couple of things that I found out of our textbook that we use. So what they're wanting a student to do here is they're wanting to complete these tables based off of a rule that's happening. And one of the things that it kind of catches my eye is on both of these, they're using tables. They're using a vertical table on the first one and then a horizontal table on the second one. I also see that one of them is addition, and I also see that one of them is multiplication. So I'm going to start with the one on the left first. So this one here is, I'm going to do this one in blue. This one is talking about the rule G equals N plus 6. So I notice here, instead of an X and a Y, they use N and G, which they could do that. They've just switched the variables up. The input and the output's basically still going to be the same. We just got to figure out, okay, let's take their equation and let's think about how we could use that to finish our table. Well, it's really pretty simple, because if I look here, I know that the rule is going to just be plus 6. But if I really wanted to use their equation, I'm going to write it again down here. It's G equals N plus 6. What I could do is I can pull out a value from their table and just plug it in to see what happens. So they have a 4 at the bottom, so I'm going to write a 4 in, because that's it. If you look, it's right there under N. And then I could say, okay, well, plus 6 is going to be my rule, so that stays the same. Well, that's easy. What's 4 plus 6? 4 plus 6 is 10. And so I'm going to fill that in as, all right, that's going to be my G in my table. And so really it's just a rule of plus 6. So from here, I could just fill out the rest of it. 1 plus 6 is going to be 7. 2 plus 6 is going to be 8. 3 plus 6 is going to give me 9. And then you kind of see that pattern there developing. All right, that was a pretty easy one. All right, let's go over here. The next one, I'll change colors here. I'm going to use green. So the next one is going to be, looks like it's using R and P. So your input's R and your output's P. They're going to take R and times it by 12. So you're going to have to know some multiples of 12 on this one. And so looking at this one here, I'm going to go ahead and just think, okay, so this is my rule. It's going to be a times 12 rule. I'm going to write the equation a little bit different from theirs, even though theirs is fine. There's nothing wrong with this one. But I know just from experience, it could look a little bit different. So I'm going to write P equals, and then I'm just going to write 12R. And what that means, again, is if I have no symbol in between the R and the 12, whatever the R value is, I'm just going to times it by 12. So again, I'm going to pick one out. I'm going to say the first one, 2, and I'm going to put it in parentheses here. So 12 times 2 is 24, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, okay, underneath, this needs to be 24. And then if you know your multiples of 12, you're going to be fine here. 12 times 4 is going to be 48. 12 times 6 is going to be 72. Oops, 72, that's a 2 there. And then 8 times 12 is going to be 96. All right, so pretty simple, not too bad. Again, all about kind of going back to last year, thinking about patterns, thinking about input, output. Just because now we're dealing with some equations, don't let those equations get to you. All right, the last one here is just something else out of the book that I pulled just as kind of like a test prep question. This is pretty close to what you guys would be seeing on your STAR test. And it's a picture here. Before we read it, I could just tell it's kind of like what we did on the last page where we're trying to complete a table. And so this one says, Sergey uses the pattern rule y equals 4 plus b to generate the first 3 outputs in the pattern. Which of the following is the 5th output in the pattern? And so now, again, reading through this, my mind kind of really goes to that equation there. And I'm thinking, all right, whatever they're doing, they're adding 4. I mean, they're telling you that. They're taking, even though it's B and Y, they kind of, switching up these variables can be tricky on kids. You can't let it get to you. It's just one of those things you kind of have to just go slow and think about it. Whatever the B is, you're going to add 4 to it, then that's going to give you your Y. Well, they really care about the 5th output. So that's really my focus here, whatever that one's going to be. So if I just continue it and I'm adding 4 plus 4 is going to give me 8, 5 plus 4 is going to give me 9, and then I think I would go with B here as my final answer. Again, pretty easy one here. This would be on the easier side when it comes to a STAR test question, but you could see something like this, and you just have to know kind of how to approach it. These aren't too bad. We're going to kind of relate these in the next video to what are some more kind of on-level patterns for 5th grade, and what I mean by that is now that we've kind of talked about order pairs and we've talked about input-output tables, then we'll start really getting into how they kind of all mix together.